like say Nick, and like the kind, I mean, he does act as well, and he's got a massive kind of body of work, and you know, you're both kind of different kind of characters. And so it's my question, like, how do you go about kind of getting funding? How frustrating is it? Because there's, you know, you have the kind of British film industry, and everyone, you know, we all know about kind of working kind of title and the, you know, the well kind of paid actors. But for me, you know, there's this film industry that you don't necessarily operate in, but you kind of exist in, that exists and manages to kind of make some kind of money for somebody, maybe not you.
Yeah.
I'm really interested about how that actually kind of works, and how you get funding for your films, you know, because you're real kind of talent. And after
it's real tough, because I think it's such a small pool as well. It's quite easy to be like frustrated and take your frustration sometimes out on and being competitive with a lot of other filmmakers, because it's such a small pot. And it's a real tough thing. So I understand why public funding exists. That exists to try and fund more obscure, difficult films that won't get funded. And then I understand how the private investment stuff, that only wants to make commercial stuff. So you've got stuff that's quite polar opposites. And the issue is, I think, to build like a British cinematic culture, is it can't be like, look at America. America has not much public funding, and they don't gripe about public funding. They go out and hustle, raise money, make films, and sell their films. I think us in Britain, we're very much like, we like to grumble, and we're almost like the nanny state, and we like, give us our public funding. If we don't get it, we're going to complain.
Yes.
You know, again, it comes back to class. It's like, I think a lot of the public, and this is very black and white.
But it's just like, you know, there's some kind of gatekeeping going on. I'm wondering, I went to...
There's definitely gatekeeping,
yeah.
100%.
Because I went to an event at BFI last year, which I thought was hilariously, because it was at the BFI, and they were talking about, you know, who's the working class hero now. It was a whole day. They had like...
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and it was kind of interesting, because you just think, I kind of imagine the BFI is one kind of gatekeeper, and I went to one of the sessions about how they decide, you know, how to kind of give funding to, and I was just wondering for you, you know, are you able to kind of dip into those funds, or is that like a challenge?
It's a hard one, because I kind of understand where the BFI are coming from and public funding, and it's so limited. It would be easy to kind of gripe and go, well, that's the problem. And really what public funding is trying to do is trying to counterbalance the inequalities of our society.
Yeah.
But obviously there's such gross inequalities that public funding is not going to really counterbalance that. So it's kind of an uphill struggle as it is. So it'd be easy to go, well, they only fund like this certain stuff. So look, you know, it's fucking tough.
Yeah.
And I think it is generalizations, and I've always felt like, if I was to speak in generalizations, I would say public funding often feels like it's middle-class filmmakers for middle-class audiences, and sometimes private finance feels that it's much more sometimes working-class audiences by working with filmmakers.
That's really interesting.
But what I find the struggle is, I'm a filmmaker that wants to make intelligent films for a working class and audience.
Yeah.
But and I fall in a gap right there. Because the intelligent films are normally made for middle class audiences.
It's like the
and the lower
Giant.
the lower end, the more straight to DVD stuff, the dumbed down stuff is made for a working class audience. In general talk.
No, I completely agree.
But I exist in that grey area in between. I want to make intelligent cinema that engages working class people.
Is that is that what you try to do with every kind of film you kind of make, or do you have like some kind of ethos that you always kind of...
Not real an ethos. I just think it's like that's what drives me and influences me. It's like working class culture and working class cinema, and that's the people that I feel most comfortable around and with, and that's not to beat on and you know, I think like class is like something that's created upon us as people, and ultimately I'd love to destroy the class system and live free as people. So I mean, it's quite easy to take pop shots and go public funding is this and this is that, and ride those class divides quite easily. Ultimately I want to make films that connect with people. And I think the universal side of a story connects with people, whether they're from the other side of the planet or whether they're middle class and from fucking Hampstead. Like, they would still connect with the universal things. For me, like, you tell universal stories, but they must also be like a microcosm. They must really be authentic. And that's what intrigues me, is working class life.
And because like, I find like working class films or working class kind of narratives, it's always, well, not always, but it kind of focuses on, you know, what you say, kind of authentic, but also like local. And it's trying to find that kind of universality within a kind of a
localized
kind of
voice,
yeah, you know, and I think that's, like you said, you know, going back to trying to find a working class audience, I think that's one of the biggest issues, I think, in trying to have a national cinema is like, where is the working class kind of audience and how do you reach it?
Yeah, and the issue comes down to distribution, audience, and film culture.
Yeah.
And I think very easily in this country, we fall into the trap of becoming very competitive with each other as filmmakers and fight over a small crumbs, basically.
Yeah.
And actually, the bigger goal is for all of us to create a culture of cinema. But because we're all caught up in chasing the crumbs and being competitive, the bigger goal of building a wider kind of culture of cinema, British cinema. It's like, you know, you go to France or Germany, places like France, like every cinema must show, one screen must show a French film.
Yeah.
So again, that's kind of much more built in, and I think the problem is the English language has colonised the world so much that we've almost fallen back and we only consume American culture.
Yeah.
And I actually think we're beautifully positioned in terms of culturally that we can be unique enough that we can sell to America because it's the same language, but also we can sell to Europe because Britain has a very unique culture about it.
Yeah, and it's getting that onto film, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, that's one of the things, and getting it, and like I said, getting those distribution deals, and getting British films into cinemas, because I can imagine.
And that's the biggest
trying to
struggle.
get a release, and like any kind of decent release must just be, you know, you can make the film, but then trying to getting it kind of screened must be another challenge in itself.
It's real tough. Like, it's easier to make films than to get them distributed.
And you're still
there
here.
is the crux.
Still here working. Still at it.
Just about.
Do you ever feel like you've wanted to kind of give up?
More times.
Since like, you know, Capital and Plague, which were, you know, extraordinary films, you know, just how I kind of came to kind of watch them. And really kind of creative, and you just, you know, like me or us, you know, we watch these films and just think, these people should be making films.
I've given up so many times. But the problem is I've got no plan B. I've come so far, I literally have nothing to fall back on. I actually can't do anything else. It's quite scary. But at the end of the day, you only live once, so you might as well,
just keep on.
You know, and that's kind of, you know, I've got kids, and that's the example I want to set. People often, when I'm my daughter, people thought I wouldn't make films anymore. And I was like, no, I'm going to go out even more, because the example I want to leave her is just do what you're passionate about, rather than play it safe.
Yeah, I think that is a very good example. One last question, I'll let you go. So, I might have asked you this before, I can't remember, but what's next? What are you kind of planning to do next? Are you planning to kind of features?
So the Smackhead is the first film we've made under our company, Medium Cool Films.
Yeah.
So that was founded by myself and George. We're developing a feature idea from Smackhead, which is called The Damage Done. It's a bigger piece about recovery and kind of explores 3 different timelines in a character's life of when he got into the drugs, deep in it, and then the other side of it, recovery.
Yeah.
But the timeline doesn't run in a chronological order. It's very much, it's like an art house drama.
Yeah.
It's very much about memory, quite fragmented.
Terence Davis, distant voices
Yeah,
still
yeah,
alive.
it's kind of like, we joked and said it's like Ken Loach means Terence Malick, so it's got that very social realism mixed with that art house sensibility. So certainly that's what I'm focusing on as a director next. On the Medium Cool, I'm also writing loads with George. We've got a feature that we just sold the script, Villain, which has just been shot, gets released next year. We're finishing up another script and a couple more scripts that we want to just sell as writers. And we're also writing on a pilot for a TV series. So we're trying to produce a lot of stuff under Medium Cool because that's our home. And really the Damage Done is like our writer-director. That's our baby. And everything else is just to try and get some good stories and good scripts out there. So we're hustling. Yeah, we're hustling.
It's good to hear that you're hustling because like the British film industry needs talent like you.
Oh, bless you.
So,
thank you very much.
It's brilliant. So I will be in touch. But good luck.
No,
What
definitely.
comes next?
I want to read your thesis.
I'll send it to
that
you.
mentions my film.
It's about 90,000 words, but I'll send you a little bit. I'll send you the chapter.
Send me the bit where I'm mentioned.
Yeah, all right,
no,
I'll do that.
honestly.
Yeah, no worries.
So
No worries.
thank you.
Good to meet you. Cheers.